The plea from families of hostages being held in Gaza is getting more desperate, begging the U.S. government to help bring them home after 103 days in captivity. Today, the American and Israeli families of hostages shared graphic and harrowing stories about last words with their loved ones during a bipartisan press conference at the U.S. Capitol. The mother of 19-year-old Tenafly native Idan Alexander was among the group, holding a poster bearing his face, but she didn't speak. The renewed push for a hostage release comes as the conflict between Israel and Hamas spreads in the Middle East and public support for a ceasefire increases, with UN reports revealing more than 22,000 Palestinians have been killed in the war. Here at home, tensions are also high, especially on college campuses. Today, Rutgers University lifted the suspension on its Students for Justice in Palestine chapter following an investigation into alleged disruptive behavior. But as Melissa Rose Cooper reports, members say the move was an effort to silence their voices.
As a result of our collective efforts as students, we proudly announce that Students for Justice in Palestine has been reinstated at Rutgers University.
A round of applause as members of Students for Justice in Palestine announced they have been reinstated after Rutgers New Brunswick suspended the organization last month. The university saying its decision to suspend the group was in response to multiple complaints of gatherings and events that caused people on campus to feel unsafe.
First and foremost, everyone has the right to free speech, and nobody on SJP has ever threatened anybody with any type of violence. Rather, SJP members have been threatened themselves. And that should be cause of academic or criminal consequences, not fighting for Palestine.
Members of SJP maintain all of their actions have included peaceful protests and say Rutgers failed to protect their right to express their support for Palestine.
There is genuinely something very dystopian as a Palestinian going to school, doing work, and taking exams while your family is currently displaced, dead, or missing in the rubble. Rutgers, a university that prides itself on its diversity, could have supported Palestinian students suffering during this time. Instead, our university has chosen to suppress our voices, experiences, and demands.
The unprofessional manner in which the Rutgers administration has treated their grieving Palestinian students is yet another example of the disappointing and poor leadership on campus, an action which reminds us that in the struggle for freedom, it is us, the students, community, and grassroots organizers who keep us safe.
Now students want Rutgers to carry out several demands, including issuing a public apology for the suspension.
Student organizers face unprecedented harassment and doxing due to the Rutgers administration, including the leaking of our suspension letter, which included the name of an SJP organizer.
Rutgers denies the suspension was based on SJP speech and insists it was instead a result of their protest in non-public forums that caused disruption to classes, which violates university policy. A spokesperson adding in a statement, Rutgers stands against Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and against all forms of bias, intolerance, and hate. The university strives to be a safe and supportive environment for all our students, faculty, and staff while adhering to our commitment to free speech. We reject absolutely intolerance based on religion, national origin, race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, ability, or political views.
Over 150 student organizations signed on to our call for reinstatement. Our letter condemning the university's racist suspension has over 25,000 likes on Instagram. For context, that is over half of the school's total number of students enrolled. It's a big number.
While SJP has been reinstated, the organization remains on probation until the end of the year. Students say they'll continue to exercise their freedom of speech and push for Rutgers to take accountability for its actions. For NJ Spotlight News, I'm Melissa Rose Cooper.